Hey guys, just about ready here. Let's put this on. Boom. A little bright there. Whoa, let's pull this back. Okay, so let's talk about Ant-Man and the Wasp. For starters, guys, let me plug this in because it's going to drive me nuts. I want to make sure you guys can hear me okay. Can you hear me? I hope so. Okay, so I just wanted to talk about Ant-Man and the Wasp for a second. I'll move this little thing so you can see that. There we go. So the movie Q&A after. So let me just pull up my notes here. How is everyone doing today? I want to make sure that everything is clear as day. You can make out me and you can hear me okay. You guys hopefully can hear me good here. Okay, so yes, we're good. All right, guys. So the spoiler-free review. I'm starting with the movie is a very different movie from prior MCU films. It does not really introduce anything vitally new to the overall story, but it is definitely worth watching. And I think the biggest takeaway that you can get is that this movie is about the Pym family and the backstory behind all of that, and the Wasp is super important. The villain Ghost is much more complex and interesting than Yellow Jacket was in the first film. Um, Evangeline Lilly is definitely the actress who shines the brightest in this film. A lot of the movie centers around her and her father and their family, the Pyms. There's many more obstacles in this film, but the plot is much simpler than most other Marvel films. In many ways, even simpler than the original Ant-Man. The comedy is it's definitely just like brim full of comedy. This is more of a comedy than anything. It's almost every scene is just a setup for some kind of joke, but it doesn't annoy you because the story continues to progress and they're really smart about how they break down their scenes. Um, all the characters do return in this one. A lot of people are assuming that the characters do not return, but in fact they do return. So there's something to look forward to there. There's a deeper relationship, I think, across the board between all of the characters. We really get a better sense of everyone in this film, and we care more. So it's hard not to love. Basically, everyone in this movie is a lovable character, and that includes our antagonists. Um, this movie is super fast paced. They don't really give you much breathing room for anything but fast pace. Um, yeah, it's the funniest, it's the happiest, it's the easiest to digest and swallow and follow. It has so much heart, but not in a necessarily dramatic sense. Just it's a very likable movie. I found it very enjoyable, and I was not disappointed throughout. So yeah, it's in many ways it's the most predictable MCU film, but weirdly it works. It's like you needed it to be predictable because it just works with what it is. The characters even make reference to how much we talk about. For example, they mention the quantum realm quite a lot in this movie, and Scott Lang's character even makes a note on that, like, "Boy, you guys like to say quantum a lot." So yeah, definitely the most easy, fun-loving movie, and it's a perfect movie to take place after Infinity War. You wouldn't think that a movie like this would. Why would they release something like this that takes place in the timeline before Infinity War? But trust me, they make it work. And definitely go see it. I will say that there are two post-credit scenes in this movie, so make sure you stay afterwards to at least watch the first one. Um, it's a great movie. I enjoyed it from beginning to end. I do have some negative thoughts here and there, but for the most part, it was definitely a fun movie. It was something that perked me up after the dismal feelings I had from watching Infinity War. So go see it for, if nothing else, just to have a great fun time at the theater. That is my spoiler free review. Now we are into our spoiler filled review. So much like the Avengers Infinity War, this movie goes right into the action, doesn't waste any time. The Wasp is really kind of the main fighter and focal point of this movie, and Ghost. Um, she shows up right away, and there's no explanation for it. It's the weirdest thing. You're just like, this is a Ghost character. Out of nowhere, literally. We just see her appear, and we're like, who's this? We don't know anything about her at first, but we do get that revealed in a very tragic backstory from her later on. Um, the backstory is a minimalist backstory, but it tells us enough that we care about. Strangely, we care about her as a villain, if you want to call her that. Speaking of which, the villains, there aren't really any real villains in this movie. Everyone just kind of all want to go after this quantum technology in the film, and you understand for the most part where everyone's coming from. And with that in mind, there's so many obstacles. So it's more of like and I even said I compared it a little bit to like the movie Rat Race or Race, The Amazing Race on CBS. It's much like that where everyone is after the same thing, and there's multiple sources vying for that same thing. You in many ways don't even necessarily see Ant-Man the Wasp or Dr. Hank Pym as heroes in this. And sometimes you actually go, I could see how they're the villain. If we didn't focus so much on their story, they could easily be a villain in this movie. It was more about the goal that everyone was after, which was the quantum technology, which Hank Pym was the closest to. So yeah, it was a bunch of back and forth stealing from each other. It was a fun movie, kept you interested and engaged, but it wasn't like high stakes other than the personal stakes for each character. So me personally, I wasn't like there was no stress. This movie was stress free, and I really love that about it. Goliath plays a vital role in the film, and I feel like I could give it away, but I'm not going to give everything away. This is spoiler filled, not spoiler. Here's it all. There are many antagonists. I already mentioned that. Everyone is, yep, already said that. There are no real villains or heroes in this. It's just these are the protagonists, these are the antagonists, mostly because we're following their story. The film wasn't actually really about Ant-Man or Scott Lang. It was actually primarily about about the Pyms, the Pym family, and the results of their actions and the quantum realm. I even said the movie shouldn't be called Ant-Man the Wasp. It should maybe be called, honestly, in terms of like prominence, it should be the quantum realm and the Wasp. Because that's really what the movie was. Ant-Man was just kind of along for the ride in this movie. A lot of jokes were made throughout the movie because of the faulty technology, because like one of his suits wasn't quite working right, and that happened throughout the film. And there's even a funny scene where they go to Scott Lang's daughter's school to grab something that he left with his daughter, and his technology messes up so much that he ends up getting stuck in child size, which you can see in the trailer. They make fun of it, but it's a funny joke, and they don't overkill it, but definitely laughable moments, to say the least. The one thing I will say is while the film doesn't really do much for the overall story of the MCU, it does technically set up the opening to where we'll see things in Avengers Part 4, whatever that movie will be called. Yeah, barely scratches the surface on any new discoveries, really, because we already knew about the quantum realm in the first Ant-Man movie. The movie overall is happy. It has a happy beginning, middle, and end. But there is a fun little sad point right at the very end in the post-credit scene, which didn't upset you after seeing Infinity War because you kind of already know what happens there if you've seen Infinity War. And it ties directly in to where we're left off, which I mentioned earlier. Um, there are two post-credit scenes, which I've mentioned in here. The first one is about them doing something with the quantum realm once again. And then things go awry, and you'll have to see that to see it. But and then there's a second post-credit scene, which is just kind of a throwaway, but it's a fun one, and I think you should still hang around just to see it. And the best part is at the end when you know normally in these movies it says blank will return. Well, there's a funny joke that happens within that at the very end after the credits. So go see it for that and go stay afterwards. Um, uh, yeah, the first post credit scene feels necessary, but only because of all the happy that goes throughout the film. So it's like it kind of brought the movie a little more balance and made it more worthwhile. So I think that if you like good storytelling, definitely stay afterwards because then even if you didn't care for the movie, you'll like the movie because of that scene. Um, yeah, I mean overall, if I had to give a general sense of how I felt about the movie, I'd say it was really good. I was entertained. I laughed a lot. Uh, it was generally a fun time at the movie, and I would not um, I would not miss it. Uh, Definitely not something that, oh, if I don't see this, everything's ruined for me, but definitely a good movie to go see in theaters while it's there, because it is so fun to watch and a lot of the effects are really cool, and you genuinely care about these characters. I'd say more so than most of the other Marvel films. Um, they're just more real and they're more human, I would say, than all the other Marvel films to date. So go check out Ant-Man the Wasp. You will not be disappointed. I'm the Kylerman. This is Fan Theory TV. I would do some Q&As. Doesn't look like we have any comments here, or if we do, I'm not seeing it. So anyway, go check out Ant-Man the Wasp. Loved it. Enjoyed the movie. Hope this was a good review for all of you. I'll be seeing you. Maybe if I can shut this thing down. Honestly, I have no idea how to shut this thing down, guys. This is a problem. How do I shut this down? There it is.